Hello everyone, in this video let's learn how to control LED with button. We program with C and Python respectively. Let's first introduce the working principle of the button. Experimental principle. Introduction of button. Button is one of the most common input devices. When the button is pressed by an external force, the pin 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the button will be connected together and the circuit will be connected. When the external force is released, the pin 1 and pin 2 of the button will be connected together. Pin 3 and pin 4 will be connected together. Button and other components can be used together to achieve many functions. Its operation is intuitive and effective. Many operations need to be controlled by button, so almost all electronic devices retain the design of button. Working principle of button. We control the LED by judging the state of the GPIO port connected to the button. Since the Raspberry Pi I/O port can work as an output mode to light the LED, it can also work as an input mode to detect the high and low levels of the I/O port. If the program detects that the GPIO pin connected to the button is low, it means that the button has been pressed, indicating that we have lit the LED. If the GPIO pin connected to the button is detected to be high, indicating that the button has been released and we have turned off the LED. Experimental circuit diagram. We connect the circuit according to the wiring diagram and the schematic diagram. Pay attention to the difference between VCC and GND when connecting the circuit, as shown in the following figure. After the circuit is connected, let's learn how to program and control the LED with C language on the Raspberry Pi. We first log into the Raspberry Pi terminal with software Mobuston. Click Session, choose SSH. Enter the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. The IP address can be checked on the router. Click OK, then enter the username Pi and then press Enter. Then we will successfully connect to the Raspberry Pi. We first switch to the path where we placed the code with the cd command, then view the contents of the current directory with ls command. Lesson 4 button LED.c is the C program we are looking for. Open it with sudo nano. We first look at the main function part. First, judge whether the initialization is successful with if. Then set the GPIO pin of the Raspberry Pi connected to the LED to output mode with the pin mode. Let pin, output method and set the GPIO pin connected to the button of the Raspberry Pi to input mode with the pin mode, button pin, input method. Finally, we determine whether the button is pressed with if digital read button pin high. When the button is pressed, the Raspberry Pi GPIO reads low. At this time, it executes digital write. Let pin, low, so that the LED is lit up. Then we press Ctrl and X to exit. Let's run the program to see the phenomenon. Enter the compile command sudo gcc. Lesson 4 button LED.c -L wiring pi to compile the program. After compiling, it will generate an a.out executable file by default. We enter ./a.out to run it. At this time, when we press the button, the LED will be lit, and when we release the button, the LED will go out. We next learn how to program and control the flowing light in Python language on the Raspberry Pi. Enter cd:/python. Enter the folder where the Python program is placed. Enter the ls command to view the contents of the current directory. Lesson 4 button LED.py is the Python program we are looking for. Open it with sudo nano. We first define the pin number of pins used to store the Raspberry Pi. Next, look at the entry of the program if name main. First, it is an initialization function set up. We set a pin to physical encoding and set it to output mode. We also initially set it to high level. Next is the loop function. If the GPIO pin of the Raspberry Pi is detected to be low, it indicates that the button is pressed, and the GPIO pin connected to the LED of the Raspberry Pi is set to low level. If the GPIO of the Raspberry Pi is detected to be high, it means that the button is released and the GPIO pin connected to the LED of the Raspberry Pi is set to high level. Enter the command to run the program sudo python 3 lesson 4 button LED.py. Then we press the button to light the LED and release the button to turn off the LED.